Egman here with another video. Today we're going to look at the starter deck Frieza that I ran for GenCon. If you want to see the matches, there will be a link in the description or a link at the end of the video. And preface real quick, so we're going to talk, this is budget, I put in the title that it's budget, and it is. There are some cards that I ran because I personally own the cards that aren't budget, and we'll go over those cards in replacement form. So if you just hit the Shenron layer link, you're like, this isn't a budget deck, you're right. So we're going to talk over it. But the version in the Shenron's layer is verbatim the one I ran, but if you have any questions on cards to replace and more on the expensive cards, we're going to talk over that in this video. So also, my voice is kind of trash right now, so sorry about that. Hopefully you guys can hear this and it's not really, bad. So let's talk about this leader. So permanent, you can't include Saiyan cards in your deck. So that's kind of rough, but there's ways around it. Like, obviously, if this could run Saiyan cards, this deck would be just super duper broken, but you can't, and I think that's a fair restriction for this, and, like, canonical, like, fun theme. But he has this auto that you can choose one Frieza's army card in your battle area and send it to the owner's drop area. When this card attacks a leader card, your opponent chooses one card in their hand, discards it, and then choose up to one card choose up to one card in your life and add it to your hand. And then when your life is at 4 or less, it's an untap one, draw one. And then on the awakened side, so his auto when this card swings becomes just draw one, but the discard effect becomes an active main once per turn, and it has this additional effect of one, you get to choose the card that you discard from your opponent's hand, and your green unison card gets critical. So really cool effect, really like it, kind of like a hand destruction, obvious theme for this, and I really like this. I think it's really good. So that's our leader. Let's talk about unisons real quick. So this is going to be the most expensive cards for this deck, pretty much, and we're going to talk about them. Some of them are kind of needed, unfortunately, but I think like you can still build this deck pretty successfully for under $100. So first, we're running Demigra. This, I guess, spoilers. There's no pod in this deck. We'll talk about why, but this deck isn't really trying to get around pod. It's not supposed to like gain a lot of advantage from it. And part of the reason I did that was because this tournament was a best of one, and I felt like if you have pod, you just lose to aggro game one. So it's really handy to have. If it's a best 3 out of 3, you could do pod main deck, best of one. But I don't think it's good. Best of 3 you can do pod main deck, but if it's best of one, I don't think pod is worth it. So that's my opinion. So this is this guy. He's fantastic, and really part of the reason I like this guy too is because whenever I was playing, I felt like I was spending too much energy on turn 2, like playing my unison and being tapped out. I really couldn't do as much, right? It wasn't really until turn 3 we could start like doing some plays. And so playing this turn 1, or even playing this for 1 energy on turn 2, really enabled some plays that I wouldn't be able to do with a 2-drop unison. So I really like this card, obviously, because I've used him in pretty much all my decks, but I think he's the best unison in the game, and he just really helps with this deck. Turn 1 being able to pressure your opponent with a 15k swing, and then also it helps self-awaken, which this leader wants to be awakened pretty much as soon as possible too. So that helps you out a bunch too, and it's just great. I love this guy. So 4 of him. And he's cheap if you don't get the full arts like I did. And then, so I ran one of these guys because I own one, right? If I was to build this deck right, I would say there'd be 4 of these and 3 of this meta cooler, right? But I don't have 3, so I chose 2 Frieza Xenos. So for this tournament, I think Frieza Xeno is the second unison that you want. But next week with Anniversary Box coming out, I highly think that the Vegeta 4-drop unison is the way to go. So don't worry about this guy. This guy can become the Vegeta unison. That card is going to be like under $5 because it's a guaranteed card from the Anniversary Box. So don't even worry about it. And I think this is, I don't know. So if in this format that ends in a week, I think this is the best card for it because he generates a lot of value and he does some great stuff. But Frieza's better, I think Vegeta's better. I think Vegeta just helps out the deck a lot more and everything. So don't worry about this. If you're looking at this and saying, "Oh, this deck isn't budget," just use Vegeta Unison. But this is what I ran, and it was okay. If I saw a meta cooler, I was doing really good, but I only ran 1, so he's like a secret rare for this deck, which also doesn't have secret rares because Vegeta or most of the good secret rares are Saiyans, so Frieza can't run them. All right, we ran 4 of this guy because why not, right? We were gonna have a 1-drop Demigra, right? And so we want this guy out. He's fantastic. I know this is a super rare. I think this guy's, last time I checked, he's like $6 to $8. You should spend $25 getting a playset of this guy. He's great whenever you're running Green Unison. He's a really good card. He's going to be good for a while, and I just like him a lot. So just get him. I don't think, if you're hesitant, I think he's going to be good for a while, so he's worth the money. I think you're fine with 3 in your deck. You should have 4, though. If you're running only 3, you're fine, but 4 is definitely the number you want. And then the last like true expensive card in this deck, Dormant Potential. We ran 4. This card's fantastic too. It's like Nimbus for the color, and Nimbus is really needed for kind of like control stuff. So if you have this guy, run as many as you have. I would say the minimum you should run is 2. And I know this guy's like $20 right now. It's worth it. It's going to be good. Like, this isn't even going to be good if you have unison cards. For a 1-drop negate, this is probably one of the best 1-drop negates in the game. So it just buys you an extra turn. It's like Topo. It's like Nimbus. Like, it just stops your opponent from doing anything for the turn and gives you an extra turn to do stuff. So it's just fantastic. You should have at least 2 if you're running any green stuff ever. So I think it's worth it. If you don't want to buy the 4, because I know this is expensive, just run 2. But I think it's worth it. And that's the main bulk of the price for this. The rest of these cards are really cheap and should help you guys out. I know I just flashed Dormant Potential, but it's not. You should buy that card if you're running green. It's needed. I'm sorry. So we've got 4 of the Sidoria and 2 of the Sidoria for 1-drops. This one's obviously fantastic because you can drop it and then play it again. It's just by any effects that if it goes from your hand to your drop area, you play it. It can be extra cards, battle cards, unison, leader, your effects, your opponent's effects. Like, even like in like matchups where like Dredge Crew's a really popular deck right now too, right? So if they play it and you have to discard a card, you just play this for free. And like if they use Rebrand to pay 2 and you just play this for free, they feel really bad for it. So fantastic card, love it. And then it enables your leader for free, and it also has this active main that for 1 green you can just put it from your drop area to your hand. And so if you have any floating energy, which you will like turn 3 onwards, you can always just add this card free. Like, it's a free draw 1, right? In a lot of ways. Not free, but it's like it's a recurable draw 1 that you can do, which is really, really good in my opinion. So there's that. 2 of this guy, just help you self-awaken. You can run up to 4 of this guy for sure if you need to fill some holes from some of the expensive cards. This card's fine, so 4 of him. Our other 1-drops, we've got 4 of this girl, Chile. She's super good. Play it for 1, great, and then you can use 2 energy to get any Frieza's army from your deck into play. So you can get like some of these Sidorias, especially like if you need like a double strike for sure. Like, that can help you out a lot. You can also get this Limo, which is just like a budget Rebrand in a lot of ways. Being able to pay 2 energy to play Limo and make them discard a card. And then you have this 15k body, you can swing with it. Then after you swing with it, you can use your leader ability to pop it, give your unison, make your opponent discard another card, and be able to use, give your unison crit. Like, all of that seems really, really good. So I like all that. It's good. If you can probably go down to 3 of this if you want, but 4 is the number I ran. And you should probably have 4 of this card. Just being able to play this for 1 green to draw a card and then just pop it with leader is fine, I think. So, all right, I kind of lied. If you don't have this card, don't run it. If you don't, it's not needed. I ran 3 because I'm running green. I barely used it. If you don't have this card, don't worry about it. Don't run it. If you do have Roshi's great, especially if you only have like 2 dormant potentials. This can recycle your dormant potentials, which is really good. So if you don't have rebrands, I would definitely try to max out 4 of these guys. Run as many rebrands as you have, obviously. 4 might be excessive, but run, if you have 3, you should run 3. If you have 2, run 2. If you have 1, run 1. Still a great card, can make your opponent discard cards, and that's really good. Next up, we've got 2 Champas. This card helps the deck. This card just helps you win in a lot of ways. We have a lot of cards that have crit in this deck, or can obtain crit and all that kind of stuff, so being able to just have a double strike crit is very powerful. And then on top of it, it just helps us win the game. Like, there's so many times where my opponent's at like 2 life, and then I have to like do 2 swings kind of thing, and just being able to a double strike and win the game is great. 4 Surprise Attack Frieza, love this card. We have a lot of ways to blow up your opponent's cards with our extra card, like Dormant Potential. Just swinging into their cards, KOing them is great. Being able to, like our 5-drop Frieza KOs one of their cards. Even if they KO their own cards, like with their Unison 2-drop Bardock to KO your own card, you can just Surprise Attack Frieza based off that too, because it just says activate the skill when your opponent's battle card is KO'd. It just doesn't say who KOs it. So if they KO their own card, you can play this. Same as like if you take a life, you take one of your own life, your opponent can play like the Bardock, the Resolute guy, like the new black card that has double strike kind of thing. The same kind of logic. You can play this for free. It's crit. It's 15k. It's also Frieza's army, so you can pop it later. And then if you pop it, it doesn't have it. This card essentially has unique. So before unique was a phrase, right? So you can pop it and then pop another one of their cards and play another one from your hand too. So it's just really good to kind of cycle that value. Our super combo, I decided to run 4 Android 18. I like this card. It's just hand destruction in general. If we could play the 1-drop Vegeta, I think that would be a better card, but we can't, so we're playing this. If you want to play the 2-drop like Zarbon or whatever super combo, that's fine too. But just being able to play this whenever, like turn 1 super combo is great, and just really disrupt our opponent's hand, I think it's a good card. You always want to see these cards. Lastly, we've got 4 Shocking Death Balls and 3 Cells Earth Destroying Kamehameha. Pretty self-explanatory. Shocking Death Ball is great. You can also KO cards. You can play Surprise Attack Frieza. Cells Earth Destroying Kamehameha, and it actually negates the attack because Dorm Potential doesn't, so actually negating attack is good. Cells Earth Destroying Kamehameha is fantastic for pushing extra cards. It's also just an extra card as well. But and one quick thing, because I did make this mistake, and I want you guys to be smarter than me, is that it does not give the boosts to unison cards. It strictly says to battle cards are leader cards. So it doesn't help your unison cards. So you can't give it crit with your leader effect and then swing and make it a 15k double strike crit or whatever, or 30k double strike crit. You can't do that. So don't try to do that. Be better than me. But otherwise, this card's good. Helps you just... It's really defensive too. Like if you have like one energy floating or not, and you're worried about your opponent, you don't want to like tap out, but your opponent kind of just plays really passively next turn. You can just use this on the defense. I feel like this card's better on defense than offense. But if you have like a crit going in and just being able for 1 energy make it a 25k crit, or sorry, a 30k crit on your Frieza, Surprise Attack Frieza, and make them rip a card from their hand, that just seems really good. So that's the deck. I think it's pretty budget friendly if you follow the guidelines I said. You have to wait to anniversary box meta, which we're pretty much in right now anyways. So for those unisons, and once again, bare minimum I feel like for fantasy cards, 2 of this, 3 of these. These are probably the most expensive part of the deck. This is probably like what, $50-$60, and then the rest I think is pretty cheap. Once again, you don't need Meta Cooler. You can definitely just use Unison Vegeta. And I think that's about it. And you don't need rebrands. If you don't have rebrands, you can sub that out too. You can use other cards for that. Some other cards you might want to consider. Vegeta Unison is such a good bomb to drop on turn 4, so you don't really need like any bombs. Maybe you'd want to run maybe like 8-drop Fu, like the Fu that you can pay for 4 energy. It has triple attack, and your opponent has to discard a card when they activate an effect. Put some Roshis in. Put these 2-drop Roshis in. Max those out. Max out these 1-drop Dodorias. And I think that's really all I can think of. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like this deck. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if it's not budget in your mind. I'm really trying for this because I know a lot of people are trying to do budget decks. So I want to try to help you guys out. Make sure to watch some of the gameplay. I ended up going 3-2. First deck against Pan. Don't watch the first game against Pan. That game was nuts. And not nuts. It was just bad. I just bricked the hardest I've ever bricked. Like, the brickiest hand I like. It was bad. I don't even want to talk about it. That game was bad. Game 2 was against... oh, man. I won the next 3 games, and I lost my 5th one. 5th game was against... One was against Dredgeku. One was against... Oh man, I'm really thinking. The game I lost was against Sin Shenron. That's a hard matchup, unfortunately. Sin Shenron might be somewhat impossible until we get Vegeta Unison. Vegeta Unison just being able to blow up their field is really, really good. But yeah, Vegeta Unison helps out that matchup. So Sin Shenron, Pan. Pan game was awful. Reboot Gohan. That game was really close, but I kind of got lucky on that one. And my last game was against, I already said Dredgeku, Pan, Reboot Gohan, Sin Shenron. Oh man, there's one more. Oh, there's one more. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I can't remember the last one is. Sorry. You'll find out. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.